Hi boys and girls. We're going to focus on subtraction this week. Just like last week we focused on addition, and we're going to look at different methods of subtracting. So we're going to start off with this method, the subtracting on method or the arrow method. And it's kind of like the same method that we did in addition, all right, where we use the arrows. So if you remember that method, the basic principle was that we have a look at the sum here, 76 minus 53. The basic principle is that we break down that second number, all right, and in subtraction it will always be the smaller number, all right, and then we take off, but remember we're not adding now, we are subtracting. All right, so if we break down 53, we have 50 and we have 3. And then just like with the addition, now we're going to subtract bit by bit. We start off with our 76. All right, and let's take off that first part, which is 50. And we have an answer. 50 from 70 is 20. We have an answer of 26. Now we have to take off the 3. All right, let's do our arrows. And then 26 minus 3. And we have an answer of 23. So then we just stand back. Okay, so that was easy enough. We take off our 50, then we take off our 3 to give us a final answer. Let's try a number with hundreds in it. All right, and if you have a look at this number here, there's a 0 as well. So we have 214 minus 104. So let me get my red pen because I like to make that very clear what we're doing. All right, we're breaking down that second number. So we have 100, we have 0 tens, and 4 units. Okay, let's start the sum. All right, we have 214. The first part that we're going to minus is 100. All right, and we have 114. All right, here we have a 0. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Well, you can take off the 0 if it makes you feel happier. 114 minus 0 is 114 again. Or you can just go on to minusing the units if there's a 0. All right, so let's take off the 4 now. All right, the 4 from that number, 114 minus 4 is 110. All right, so let me stand back. Okay, is a bit of a glare on the board today. Okay, so again, if these arrows bother you, all right, if they're going to trouble you, if you're going to fuss about where you want to put the arrows or where you should put the arrows, then just leave them out. Don't worry about them. Just break down that second number and take off bit by bit, and then you are doing the subtracting on method. All right, so let me rub the board now. We're going to have a look at 2 other examples. All right, so we're going to have a look at 63 minus 37, and we'll do another sum, 231 minus 54. All right, so before I do these sums using the arrow method, I just want to explain to you now, if we were doing any other method, these 2 sums would require borrowing, all right? But because we're doing the arrow method, it will be straightforward subtracting. However, it does make your subtraction sum a little bit more difficult, and it might require a little bit more thinking. All right, now some children might struggle with this, so I'm going to show you a little strategy, a little coping method that you can use that might help you when you are doing these kind of sums. So the strategy I want to show you is what we call the compensation method. You're compensating. All right, so you can use it for addition or you can use it for subtraction. So if you have a look at the sum here, you have 20 plus 19. All right, a lot of you might struggle with that sum. You might not be able to work it out very quickly in your head. However, if we change this 19 to 20 by adding 1, all right, now we have 20 plus 20. All of a sudden, we can quickly do it. We know that that is 40. However, we can't write our answer as 40 because we added 1 that shouldn't be there. So here's where the compensation comes in. All right, compensation method or strategy says whatever you do, you have to now do the opposite of. So if you add on 1, you now have to take off 1 off your final answer. All right, so we said our final answer was 40. Now we're going to take off that 1, and 40 minus 1 is 39. All right, so that is something that you would do quickly in your head. All right, and you can compensate by first adding and then taking off, or you can compensate by first taking off and then adding back on. So if you have a look at this sum, 20 plus 26, I'm going to make this 20 again by taking that 6 off. So 20 plus 20 is 40 again. Now, that's not our final answer. All right, remember, we took away 6. Now, we have to compensate by doing the opposite of that. So we're going to add on 6. So 40 plus 6 is 46. Okay, and let me show you now one with a minus. All right, and you can compensate using either of the numbers. Okay, so here we have 33 minus 7. All right, I'm going to change this to 30 minus 7. Okay, so in other words, I'm going to take off that 3 there. All right, so 30 minus 7 is 23. Now, because I took off that 3, we have to add on that 3. And now we have 26. All right, so this is something you'll do in your head quickly. A little bit of compensation to help you with your adding and your subtraction. All right, so let's go on to these sums now. Back to our arrow sums. All right, so we're going to break, for this one, we're going to break down that second number. We have 30 and we have a 7. All right. We're going to take off bit by bit, starting with our 63. All right. So we're going to have 63 minus 30. And that is 33. Now we're going to take off our 7. All right. Now, like I've just shown you, some of you might struggle with this, 33 minus 7. So compensate, make that a 30. 30 minus 7 is 23. And you're going to add on another 3, because remember we took off here. So 23 plus 3 is 26. All right, well, there's our first sum. All right, and see how quickly we could work this out just by compensating in our head a little bit. All right, let's have a look at this sum. Okay, if we were to do another method, this would require borrowing twice. Okay, all right, because you can see the units. Here we have 4 and there is a 1. So you would have to borrow for the units. And here we have 50 and there's a 30. And we'd have to borrow for the tens as well. All right, so that would be quite a complicated sum and we would have to borrow twice. But since we are doing the arrow method, there's no borrowing involved. We're just going to break that number down, all right, into 50 and 4. All right, now we're going to start with this number, 231. And we're going to take off our 50 first. All right, so have a look here. All right, we have 231 minus 50. All right, I'm going to compensate. I'm going to take that, off, all right? This 1, we're going to make it 230 minus 50, all right? We can even take off this whole 31, all right? So we can make it, we can compensate by taking that whole 31 off, and we can go 200 minus 50. So 200 minus 50 is 181. Sorry, 200 minus 50 is 150, okay? All right. Sorry, my brain is working a little bit faster than it should. Okay, so 200 minus 50 is 150. All right, but remember, we compensated, or we still have to compensate where we took off this 31. So now we have to add that 31 back on. So that is 181. So 231 minus 50 is 181. All right. So now we have to take off the 4. 181 minus 4. Okay, again, this might not be so easy for some of you guys to do. All right, so make this 180. Let's compensate. Let's take off that 1. 180 minus 4. All right, and we have 176. All right, but now because we've taken off 1, what do we have to do? We have to compensate by adding 1. And we have a final answer of 177. All right, so you can see that where there is usually borrowing involved, even for the arrow method, the sums can get a little bit complicated. Just take it slow. Try the compensation strategy to help you, and let's see how you get along with the sums today.